Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to get started working on yet another MacBook. This has no backlight. It's an A1398. Now, I can't get screens for these anymore, which is really annoying. So I need to figure out if it's the screen or the screen cable, because this appears to work with another assembly. And if it is the screen, I'm going to see if I can actually refurbish their screen, because I can't buy this screen anymore. Apple made it really, really hard to buy this screen when it was available by having the vendors not sell to us. I still managed to find about 300 or 400 or 500 of them over the course of the several years this was being manufactured, and I bought them all. And I used them all. Yeah, so backlight is hundreds of thousands of ohms to ground on this, but on the connector, 56 ohms. Fuck. By the way, people, for those of you who may be new to the stream, if you could be so kind as to register for this website, I am going to need a lot of people's help to make this better and also add a lot of pages and a lot of things to the list. There's a lot of work that I am going to be putting into this to make it something that's even remotely decent, because right now it's a pile of crap. And I would politely, kindly ask for your help, because you guys are watching this, probably smarter than I am, if you have run a repair shop, to help me contribute to this. Okay. It's wiki2.rossmangroup.com. That's wiki2.rossmangroup.com. Yeah, I look at that right now and it looks like shit, but at the same time, my business started with a website that, where what I did is I think I made a table using the eBay auction creator. I took the HTML out of it. I put it on my website with just prices in a basic table that was styled using the eBay listing creator tool. And then I had that on the website that had a green backdrop. It makes me sad that archive.org doesn't show what my website looked like in 2008. It makes me really sad. I really wish I had saved a copy of that piece of shit so I could print it, put it on my window, archive it. My kitties woke me up at 4 a.m. Couldn't go back to sleep. Watched your video of tour of New York instead. Thank you for the tour. Thank you, Mr. Duck Vision. Yeah, my kitty likes to do that to Eric as well. They always wake her up at 7 o'clock by trying to break into stuff. My kitty is so cute. My kitty is an angry kitty that goes row row. Row row row. My kitty goes row 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 row. Allergies. Oh, that's like 2% of the work, honestly. There's a whole another 98 that has to go on there. That's what Mr. Clinton does all day. He yells, What kind of help do you need with this exactly? A lot of it is organization. I really haven't come up with a hierarchy for it, for the organization of what's there. I need other repair shops that have their own set of standards, or best tips or practices in areas where I haven't considered to submit stuff. I'm probably not going to use everything, but it's better than not having it there. I realize there are places that are probably going to say, well, I came up with this, why the fuck would I give it to you? And that is actually a very acceptable and fine answer. Indeed, why the fuck would you? And if you have to ask, then you're absolutely open to not contributing. But it's something... But if you are open to contributing, then it will make it better. Eventually, everything that I put in here, I plan on... And all my own company documentation I'm really going through. There's a lot of company documentation that I haven't released because it's specific to my business, and I'm trying to make it like separate standards from best practices for the industry as a whole kind of thing. And I want to make something that is really easy to follow, but that isn't too specific to my company, which is kind of difficult. Why are you naming Clinton? I named my cat Mr. Clinton because when I got him, he was a rapist. So they actually isolated him into his own room because he would force himself on the other kitties. And when they put him in that room, he was constantly humping the stuffed animals the entire day. All he did is hump stuffed animals like crazy. So because of that, I named him after a president that was also a rapist, Bill Clinton. And that's the story of why my kitty is named Mr. Clinton. Okay, now I forget which one of this is actually going to be pin 1. Let's see. Let's get my multimeter on and figure out which one of these is which. Set it to beeping mode. Okay, so the first pin over here there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do this. Alright, so it's this one. What do we get here? 56 ohms to ground. If I remove the cable, it's still 56 ohms to ground. So it's not the screen cable that's doing it, it's the freaking screen's backlight that's doing it. Now what happens if I remove the connector for the screen backlight, which is located right here? Still 56 ohms. That really doesn't make any sense. Do you guys understand why that doesn't make sense to me? So, the short circuit is not in the cable, it's not in the motherboard, and it's not even in the screen's backlight, because this is the screen's backlight right here. It seems like the short is in the connector. And the connector also seems to have had some funny business happen to it, because right over here, where my multimeter's never touched, it looks kind of like some melting has gone on. I don't know if you can really make that out over there. So I'm going to try bulldozing that connector and replacing it. Now remember, this screen, so for those of you wondering why am I replacing a connector on a screen, this screen used to cost $85, but I have to buy it in minimum of $200 to $400 per order. Removing the screen is absolutely utterly miserable. It's glued into this, and if I crack it as I'm removing it, first you have to put something under it, and you have to push really hard to get around this glue that goes all around it. And if you crack it at any point, it breaks into millions of little brittle pieces that if you touch the back layers, the diffuser layers of the screen, makes it unusable. So it used to be the screen just screwed into the computer. And the screen had the backlight diffusers, which diffuse the backlight and make it even, and the screen, which makes the picture. Now, the part that makes the picture is separate from the other layers, which are stored in the display assembly, and the only thing you can buy is the screen itself. This is the shittiest video game of all time. The way it works is, try to not crack it. If you crack it, and any tiny little piece of that brittle glass touches on the screen, and you can't get it off properly, the screen will not look proper again, and the customer will be mad at you and not want to pay you for the screen service after you spend 1 or 2 hours on it. So this is like the shittiest video game on earth. So, even when that screen was $85, no, fuck that game.
You can put that back. Fuck. Okay, you fucked up, so now you need to take the screen out. This is when it gets fun.
However, now that that screen is closer to $430 and not even available at $430, we're not playing with that. What we're doing is we're going to try to fix the screen's PC board, and it looks like this connector here is what is shorted, so I'm going to go and grab myself the bulldozer soldering tip and use that to remove it. Be right back. So here's the second part of this video game that sucks. So you need to heat this up over here, but you cannot touch the screen. If you touch the screen, you lose the game, and you have a very, very angry customer. So what we do is I take a bit of solder, and again, this should be obvious to all of you why I'm not using hot air for this, because the hot air is going to destroy the screen that's right next to it. I cannot have any contact with that screen whatsoever. So what I'm going to do... What's that?
This is why I have these.
What's that?
Stuff the paper underneath the board a little bit.
Oh, that's smart.
And then you're protected from even getting flux or anything on the screen. That's
smart. So Paul's tip... So Paul's idea was to put a piece of paper there. God damn it. So Paul's idea here is to put a piece of paper there, and it's going to block the flux from getting onto the screen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to heat up the entire connector. See, if I heat up the whole connector, then it's easy to remove it. This tip is large enough that I can heat up the entire connector, and then it desolders itself, which is beautiful.
I'm gonna point out that the screen cable is right behind it, though. You gotta be real careful with
What?
that. The ribbon cable on the other side of that. You gotta be real careful around that. You can't slide all the way off of it onto it, else you destroy the screen.
Yeah, what Paul said. Now the other annoying thing is that, Paul, do all the connectors we have the pegs in the bottom? Uh-oh. I like big tips and I cannot lie, JP. Now I'm going to take off my big tip and put on my normal tip, because I don't need this gigantic tip anymore. It's unwieldy. I like big tips and I cannot lie. There was this commercial in the 90s that would show up on Channel 11 while watching my cartoons. It was, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Another brother cannot say, ice, ice, baby, baby, ice, ice. Anybody remember that? Shitty 90s commercials? They were going over these top hits that you could buy. These CDs you could buy with all the top hits. And it always had the Ice, Ice, Baby, Baby song come on right after that one. And that always used to show up when I was watching cartoons. I watched my Aladdin and my Gargoyles and all that stuff on Channel 11. Yeah, Aladdin and Gargoyles I'd watch every day, religiously. And then my Batman, Superman adventures. Let's see, I'm kind of curious if any of you guys noticed something here. So I'm going to clean off that alcohol, just to make sure it doesn't get into the screen. But I'm going to use the temperature of 116 Celsius from far away. There's no chance of burning the screen, but it will evaporate my alcohol. I'm kind of curious if you guys notice anything. On the pin for backlight, it's a little bit damaged. Barely notice it in the pad. See that? That's a square, and over here it's not. It's kind of it's kind of abused at the top. There's a little notch in it. Right over here in the upper left of this pad, there's a notch in it. And I'm kind of curious if the short was in my connector or if it's in the screen. The way I'm going to find that out, that is indeed a fucked screen. Yep, that is unfortunately the screen itself. 49 fucking ohms. Oh shit. What do we do? Maybe the short is in this one? Do we want to try and drill the short out of the screen? Is that what we're going to try here? I'm going to try destroying the short inside the board.
I'm not sure what this one is here.
What is that?
It looks like some
Chicken?
mushroom thingy, but
Yeah, well,
maybe ask Chris, I don't know.
Maybe he'll tell me. What's this, Chris? What's this one in the upper right made of? I'm curious. Time to keep digging the short out of a screen board. You know what I'd really like to do? You know what's really tempting? Sending 50 volts into the screen backlight and seeing what gets hot. Like, it's already dead, you know? I can't really do much to make it more dead. But I kind of want to blow up the short. I think that would be fun. Does anybody want to see me blow up the short and make it go to smithereens kablooey? Does anybody think that would be a fun way to spend a little bit of our time together? Who says that that would be a fun way to spend the time? Everybody in favor of blowing up the short in this Apple screen, say aye. Everyone opposed to blowing up the short in this Apple screen, say nay. The ayes have it, the nays can gargle my balls. First, let's make sure that this is actually... Alright, that's one piece. Still 50 ohms to ground. This is the only real hope that I have of figuring out where the frig this short is. Looks like we got something on the other side of the screen PCB. I just turned it off real quick. And we're going to find this short, and we're going to fix this screen. I am stubborn. I am filled with wasabi. I no longer have nostrils. Take the screen out. Is there a sticker under there? There's a screw under a sticker, isn't there? That's the kind of thing that Apple would do, wouldn't they? Kind of curious. Nah, there's no way in hell there's a screw under that. Ah, there's just glue holding that in. Alright, so let's see what happens when I put power to the screen board. What pops under here? So that's where the connector used to be. And when I put power over here, something is smell. Okay, it's that. See that? See that damn cap right there? That's it. Smoking. Open line. We did it! The short is gone! It was this shitty cap that's under the screen. Okay, now I gotta find another one. I don't know what the value of that is, because hell if I'm getting a schematic for a screen. Thank you, that dude. Now I gotta see if I could find that. Be right back. I have a collection. This place has everything, I'm telling you. Screen PCBs. So this one is a WT1SJE1. Alright, so I don't have a screen board that matches, it seems. And there's no schematic for screens. That doesn't exist. Good luck getting that from LG. I removed the short from the screen.
How?
You,
Connector?
no, it's not the connector. When it's not the connector, there's a cap under it that's hidden under a shield on the others, but it's not hidden under a shield on this.
Oh shit.
How many Retina screens do you think were replaced instead of doing this?
How do you, what, you just measured resistance on the cap?
I sent 20 volts to the screen.
Oh,
Frick, it's fucking dead anyway.
Yeah.
And
That's one way, I guess, to...
so I'm going to take a... I don't know what the value of the cap is, so I'm just going to take one off of a Retina board where they have the really thin ones. And I'm going to put one of these from the backlight line on a A1306 on there and a new connector.
Wait, so you sent 20 volts to it, you just felt it get hot, or you put, like, alcohol?
Oh, no, you could see it. Hurry.
Oh.
It wasn't much of a mystery at 20 volts. 20 volts. Yeah, it's this. Under the PCB.
Oh.
I don't even know how I'm going to solder something new there. That's kind of a mystery, but yeah. We take a cap off of here.
Wait, you're just getting get the value?
The screen doesn't exist anymore, and I can't make it worse than it is because it's dead.
True, actually.
I don't know the value of it, so I'm just going to take it off of a backlight line. This machine uses the same caps as this one does in backlight line, so it can't be, it's probably not the same one because it's on the screen side versus the board side, but I know it's not inappropriate because it's meant for backlight voltage because it's on the backlight output. Wait a second. 116. I need more.
Like, why isn't it? You're not using flux, only one.
I don't need flux here.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to make the screen work again at component level.
that would be funny.
We have no choice. Remember when the screen was $85?
Yeah.
Those good old days.
Price,
No,
we thought 85 at the time was expensive.
it was. They used to be 58.
Yeah, it really was.
Now you... Okay, so I have to place this. This is the easy part. The connector is going to be the miserable part.
What,
So-
it needs a connector too?
Yeah, since I ripped the connector off thinking it was the connector.
Yeah.
I know, I shouldn't have taken the connector off. I should have just shoved 20 volts into it first. Hindsight is 20/20. Okay. I can't use hot air on here. So, and I can't touch the ribbon, so my hand has to be perfectly steady.
Well,
That's
they
one
can't
of-
see what you're doing, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, they probably shouldn't see what I'm doing because I'm going to fuck it up. And then they're going to make fun of me, especially Travis.
Getting close to that
Wait a
ribbon
second.
cable.
You're supposed to wick one of the sides. This way it's easier to get it in there. Alright. See, you wick that side, then you
Here,
heat
let
this
me-
one,
Hold
and
on,
then...
hold on, before you do it. Let me put... I want to put something on the ribbon cable so you don't slip it.
What do you mean slip? I never slip. I don't do with boards what you do with hard drives. Zoink. Never. Now, whether that's the proper value capacitor, who the hell knows? We're guessing here. All right, now we get a connector put on here.
Yeah, that's going to be a miserable one. I'll see you.
This is really an interesting set of micro board repairs. So instead of doing a board repair yesterday, I fixed the I/O board instead of replacing it. On this one, I am fixing the screen instead of replacing it. So this is really an interesting set of just how deep in can we go to make this shit work again when parts are not available. And you really do want to send Tim Cook that message. It's important to send that message that no matter how hard you make it to make these devices work again, it doesn't matter how many fucking on-purpose roadblocks you put in our way, we're going to continue to work on these products and make them work again for customers that wish to have their old product work rather than purchase a new one. Tim Cook probably doesn't care, as Apple becomes worth $2 trillion and he's probably enjoying time in his 20th mansion while I'm here fixing yet another MacBook in the hopes that someday I may be able to actually purchase a home. Yeah, that's probably the more likely case. But the first story is the one that is less depressing, so I'm going to go with that one. It's a better narrative than that one. I don't really think Tim Cook gives a flying fuck what we do here. He has enough money to last him 20 lifetimes over. How long will it work? It will work until it dies again. It is an Apple, so there's really only so much I can do here. I'm not a miracle worker. No. I'm putting flux because you're not supposed to add solder and then just... you're not supposed to touch solder with the iron when you're not adding any new solder, because there's flux inside the solder. When you do that, it kind of burns the solder away. But I don't have three hands. I need to hold the connector down, and I also need to solder at the same time, which means that I'm going to have to do it this way. It would also probably make sense if I screwed the screen board back down so that it can't move around on me anymore. If I had a brain, that's what I would do. So I'm going to grow a brain right now and do it. Put glue under the connector. Are you nuts? Are you nuts? No glue. No glue of any type here. Push down on this side. On the other side, same thing. Push down. That nasty, cruddy solder is going to become nice, sexy solder because it touches my Amtech flux. Yes! Flux! I have a solder bridge over there. I gotta fix that. That's the kind of thing that Travis Stamper would see, not point out and laugh at as I turn on the screen and it smokes. Tyranny of the Travises. Okay. That is millions of ohms to ground on backlight, which gives good chance that this is going to work just fine. This is going to be an interesting video. We're going to continue in the spirit of reusing as much as possible. So rather than replacing... So this is really interesting. Apple would replace the entire display assembly and the logic board to fix this. We, once upon a time, would have replaced just the screen without the display assembly to fix this, but now we would be forced to fix the entire display assembly because we cannot find the screen. But today, we are really just replacing one cap on the PC board of the screen. This is really not a standard thing. Probably nobody's actually going through the effort to do this. And it's not something that we've done. It's not something I've heard other people really trying to do. So hopefully if this video, if this works, this can kind of encourage some people to give this a shot rather than just give up because the screens are no longer available, either display assembly or LCD by itself. And we're going to see if this works in just one moment. Hold on, folks. Don't touch that dial. Hold on, folks. Don't touch that dial. I am the slime on the video. I am the slime on your living room floor. I am the slime, I'm a real estate agent. I am the slime and So what are the chances this works versus that it just blows up in my face? Actually, I could use a little bit less solder over there. A little bit less solder on the end. There we go. I am the slime on the radio. Da 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 on the living room floor. Let's see how many people here know who that's from. Who is that? Who here might be moving to Montana soon? Let's bring them up a crop of dental floss. Right, backlight has no short to ground. Indeed, Billy White Jr. Good taste, my friend. All right, do we get a light or do we get an explosion? So what we did here is we refurbished the existing screen by finding the short on the screen PCB. So this is a good one. Let's go over this. So oftentimes there is a short circuit on the backlight line. Sometimes it's in the screen cable. You replace the screen cable and it works, but sometimes you replace the screen cable and it doesn't. So it's really kind of important to unplug the screen cable from both ends and see if the short is still present on both the board and the screen on the backlight line. And if it is no longer present on the board, then you know it must be in the screen cable. If you unplug the screen cable from both ends and it's present on the screen, not the board, then you know the issue is not the board or the screen cable, it's the LCD itself. Oftentimes it's the connector, and this time it was a real troll and it wasn't the connector. It was a cap underneath the screen PCB. This is absolutely riveting and awesome. Crazy board repair here. And I am quite happy that we're able to make this work because again, this screen used to be really cheap. Pain in the ass to fix. Don't get it twisted. Pain in the ass to fix and do properly. My God, a pain in the ass to fix and do properly. But decently priced part. Now, you haven't been able to find this part for over a year now. And the ones that are available are only the display assembly by itself, usually in used, battered, bad condition, and over 430, 450 bucks. So this is pretty cool. So here you have the screen connector on the motherboard itself. That is backlight. And that is what we were measuring. And then we're just following that back to the screen to see what was shorted. So that's it for today. This now appears to work. It boots. And it's got a nice, fancy, shiny, beautiful screen, which is going to save the customer money over the God knows how much they would have got quoted if they went to an Apple store. So that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.